You knew I'd make one of these eventually. I still have things to say about My Little Pony, and I think showdowns are going to be the perfect place to say them in most future videos. Comparing stories and characters from different seasons and eras of Friendship is Magic, and maybe even sometimes comparing them to the older generations. Or perhaps the newer one? Welcome to the Showdown. For the 9th episode, I'll review the 5th episode of Friendship is Magic, Griffon the Brush Off, and the 3rd from its brand new sequel series, Pony Life, Cute-Pocalypse Meow. Both are about the characters having to deal with bullies who are at least part feline, and they're both early episodes, so it's easier to pit the latter against the former. Pony Life is far from over, but people did get a taste of what it would be like from episodes like this. Same could be said about Griffon the Brush Off. But Friendship is Magic would become rather different. How different? Well, it starts with Pinkie Pie telling Twilight how awesome Rainbow Dash is, then spotting her, wanting to strike up a conversation. But Rainbow just wants to rest, and constantly dashes away. This is pretty cute, but even as a self-identified femme boomer, there just isn't enough meaningful conflict here. Not quite yet. Rainbow gives in, and Pinkie brings her to the Ponyville Town Hall to play a prank on Spike. Then they start bonding over pranks and pulling some on their other friends. This is much better. It's breezy, charming, and adds more to the story and characters when Pinkie forbids playing pranks on Fluttershy.
No, we can't prank Fluttershy. I mean, she's so sensitive. It'll hurt her feelings, even our most harmless prank.
This perfectly establishes how Pinkie views her. Yelling in her face about stage fright is acceptable, but fake turtles? Nah, unforgivable. Things are going well for this pranky pair of ponies, but the very next day, an old friend drops by. Rainbow Dash catches up with Gilda, a griffin she went to flight school with, and they seem to still be close. Close enough for a couple races in the clouds to make Pinkie feel ostracized. But when she tries to jump in, Gilda keeps trying to push her away in an unfriendly manner. Unfriendliness? In a show about friendship? Pinkie is outraged. More so when Twilight thinks she's being jealous.
Green with envy. Well, in your case, pink with envy.
But after observing her on the street away from Rainbow Dash, it's clear that, no, Gilda's just a big jerk. So what secret plan does Pinkie pull to expose this to Rainbow? Call the cops? Of course she throws a party. But when Gilda turns up, she ends up on the receiving end of pretty much every prank, buzzers, dribble glass, and snakes. She eventually just gives up and insults Pinkie for pulling such dweebish pranks, but in a surprise twist, it was Rainbow Dash who made most of them, and she now doesn't want to be Gilda's friend anymore. But they revisit Gilda a couple seasons later, and mend things up successfully, and even explain why Gilda was the way she was, so whatever icky vibes this episode leaves are eased with time and wisdom. With that, I'd say this was a pretty good episode. For being one of the more low-key stories about casual, everyday happenings, the prank angle helps keep it funny and surprising. The two little plot twists are handled pretty well, and Gilda manages to be a fleshed-out mean character without being completely unpleasant. There is some stuff near the end that didn't really work. Pinkie's knowledge of what's going on with her own plan seems to fluctuate, but it's a fun time that encourages kids to keep a cool head and put their best face forward at social gatherings.
Hey, I'm watching you like a hawk.
Why? Can't you watch me like a griffin?
That and the comedic situations are very simple and endearing.
Don't worry your pretty little head about mean old Gilda. Your Auntie Pinkie Pie's got it all taken care of. I'm a year older than you.
10 years later.
I'm at an art gallery, but it's more like a fart gallery. These paintings stink.
Alright, the newest My Little Pony cartoon, Pony Life, doesn't deserve to be thrown under the bus after one joke. No show does. Just wanted to show a major difference between the two shows. The more in-your-face comedy, and more comedy in general. Take a beloved cartoon, make it a joke machine. That's been a big trend for the past couple years, so of course Pony Life doesn't aim to be an anti-magnet or anything, it just wants a good chuckle out of you. So here's an episode about why comedy is for monsters. Cute-Pocalypse Meow begins with all the main six getting pumped up for the next Royal Jelly Juggernaut, a reality show Pinky's on. Fluttershy can't look menacing enough, however, so she shrinks. She can just change size at will in this show, no stated reason. Whatever, it can be funny. Later at the park, Fluttershy meets a talking cat named Bubbles, who shares her penchant for doing the talking for ants. I just made this joke. So they bond over humour, but when her other friends meet Bubbles, they find him to be deceptive and mean. We get a couple scenes of Bubbles messing poop up for every pony, then looking cute and offering Fluttershy friendship items to forgive himself. It works every time, until he insults reality TV to Pinky's face, devastating her. Friendship over. Friendship trinkets confiscated. Dead meme televised.
If you can't handle me at my realest, then you don't deserve me at my cutest.
But because Fluttershy needs to have a real go at Bubbles for whatever reason, she grows to the size of my newest sleep paralysis demon, is back to normal size in the next scene, and meets his new best friend, Buttershy, before doing a cute off to make him explode and go blasting off Team Rocket style. I don't know why this cute off is here. Bubbles is a knob, but not deserving of being knocked into the stratosphere by cute faces. The original message was be cautious of people with a dark sense of humour, because they could just have edgy personalities, but it morphed into this whole thing about standing up against bullies. But about the former, dark humour has its place in the world, and it can seem like this episode is against it at large. But it's a kids show. Kids don't need too much dark humour, and we're at a point where we need to evaluate how dark is too dark in all sorts of areas, even adult entertainment.
You should sugarcoat everything!
I don't think they wanted to have a deep discussion about these topics, they just wanted to tell a simple story about the bully lesson, but spent too much time on the humour lesson. A shame too, because the jokes are a big draw for these sorts of cartoons, but Cute-Pocalypse Meow seems to be afraid of telling them. I like how Buttershy is just Fluttershy with swapped colours and a hipster getup. That I think is funny. But the funniest thing about the episode to me is when the Pony Life wiki mistakenly credited Bubbles' voice to Leslie Jones. What?
You can't f me more than one time and not be my man.
If you couldn't tell, I didn't find this whole plot to be very engrossing. I ended up being more interested with Pinkie Pie's subplot. For next week's Royal Jelly Juggernaut, she has to make savoury treats, but ends up making strange-looking savoury cupcakes with unconventional flavours. So her friends have to work out how to be constructive in their criticism, which is a good thing to discuss. I know as a critic that I should review cartoons in hope that they, or cartoons like them, improve in the future. And thankfully, there have already been good Pony Life episodes. But on the verdict of which of these episodes is better, it has to be Griffon the Brush Off. It knows what it wants to say, and has the time and right attitude to do so. Cute-Pocalypse Meow is good with the silly shapes and colours, but bit off more than it could chew than vlog about chewing. I'll keep up with Pony Life to see if it makes more good, easygoing chuckle morsels, but today I learnt the difference between a comedy show and a show that tells great jokes. Goodbye for now.
Bubbles, I'm bored. Make me laugh. Oh, Bubbles, you're so funny.